The heart of the story is Daniel's wrestle with anger and hatred in the face of the love of Christ. And it's a clean story with depth enough to be enjoyed by adults, but action and adventure enough for kids to find it interesting. Hey guys, welcome back to Good Clean Reads. Today's review is for The Bronze Bow, which is written by Elizabeth George Speare. Elizabeth George Speare is a pretty well-known children's author. She's written a myriad of books, many of which, if not most of which, have won awards. The Bronze Bow actually won the Newbery Medal. Among the books she's written are The Witch of Blackbird Pond and The Sign of the Beaver. Her books tend to deal with deep themes in a rather biblical way, and The Bronze Bow is no different. The story follows Daniel Bar Jamin, and I'm just going to read you the summary of the book from the inside book flap. After witnessing his father's crucifixion by Roman soldiers, Daniel Bar Jamin is fired by a single passion: to avenge his father's death by driving the Roman legions from the land of Israel. Consumed by hatred, Daniel joins the brutal raids of an outlaw band living in the hills outside his village. Though his grandmother's death slows his plan by forcing him to move home to care for his sister, he continues his dangerous life by leading a group of boy guerrillas in spying and plotting, impatiently waiting to take revenge. In nearby Capernaum, a rabbi is teaching a different lesson. Time and time again, Daniel is drawn to the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth, only to turn away, disappointed and confused by Jesus' lack of action in opposing the Romans. Devoid of tenderness and forgiveness, headstrong Daniel is also heedless of the loyalty of his friend Joel, the love of Joel's sister Malthais, and the needs of his own disturbed sister Leah, dragging them down his destructive path toward disaster. Elizabeth George Speare won the 1962 Newbery Medal for this magnificent novel of Daniel's tormented journey from a blind, confining hatred to his acceptance and understanding of love. Booklist called it a dramatic, deeply felt narrative whose characters and message will long be remembered. So, I really liked The Bronze Bow. I'm just going to say that right up front. It was really good. I love it when stories give you the information and the things needed to really get into who the character is. I love analyzing characters, and The Bronze Bow, really, she presents you with such vivid, well thought out characters that just seem like real people. Daniel's hardened by what he's seen and determined to see this oath that he made against the Romans through to the end. He would be a rather awfully miserable person to meet in real life, but in the story you root for him and you want him to figure this out because you can see his confusion and his hurt and his pain. So Daniel is really interesting. Thacia, who is Malthais' nickname, is Thacia. She is a strong female character in terms of actual feminine strength. She's fiery yet gentle, loves beauty, desires to help others do what's right, and desires to do right herself. Joel is loyal, a little less jumping feet first, but also wants to do what's right. He is eager to help the cause like Daniel. And so just these characters are so vivid, well thought out. Leah's another well thought out character. It's just, they're really cool to read about. The other thing I really enjoyed, so the story is a inward focused novel, not an outward focus, which means that what's driving the plot are the characters, so character driven, not plot driven. But there's still a lot of action outside of what's going on. It had depth without being boring, and the scenery was bright and vivid. Alright, so content concerns. And I do want to say that I'm not going to say everything specifically in the video, so if you want the full list of everything, you can go to goodcleanreads.com, where I have this review along with a pretty much part-by-part summary of the book, discussion questions, the full list of content concerns, and actually other book reviews. So just go to goodcleanreads.com. Alright, so for Christian or other beliefs. Daniel lives during the time Jesus actually walked the earth. So we get to see Jesus' ministry and hear about some of the things he's done, his miracles. Though the author doesn't take Jesus' sermons directly from scripture, so it is important to just use discerning when reading through what Jesus says in The Bronze Bow. A lot of Daniel's part of the story is actually him having to wrestle with his anger and try to give up the anger that he's held on for so long in order to follow Jesus. I liked it. Most of the main characters are Jewish, so there's a lot of discussion on Jewish laws and customs. When Daniel's hiding in Joel and Thashia's house, they read aloud from and discuss the book of Enoch, as well as take an oath from the watchword of the Maccabees. Well, I think these are historic Jewish texts. These aren't biblical Christianity texts. And the other thing is Daniel's sister is actually possessed by demons, so it's portrayed like extreme fear, anxiety, and helplessness. And then characters sometimes use like, oh no, the demons are chasing me, when they're really angry or really restless, like as an expression. Romance, nothing inappropriate at all. There's a little bit of a love story between Daniel and Thashia, and there's hints that Leah likes someone. Daniel explains Jewish wedding customs, which I thought was actually really fascinating. For violence, nothing graphic, but there are a couple of battles and injuries throughout the story, and some of them do result in deaths, including deaths of a couple of main characters. Blood is mentioned, and then one thing that could be disturbing, especially to younger readers, is Daniel's story of his father's crucifixion. It was really sad, and I think for younger readers that could be pretty disturbing. Overall, the language is pretty clean. One of Rosh's band makes a bit of a racist statement against a slave they liberated. Someone makes a racist comment about one of Rosh's band who was captured by the Romans. Then just a couple other things to know. A couple characters are described as like half naked or naked, wearing nothing but a loincloth. Daniel is a zealot and part of a gang of thieves that rob, steal, and even kill on occasion. He's incredibly prejudiced against the Romans, and his anger leads him to do and say things that he shouldn't. And then Thashia dresses up as a boy to help Joel with a mission. And The Bronze Bow is a good book. The heart of the story is Daniel's wrestle with anger and hatred in the face of the love of Christ. It's wrapped in action, adventure, and a little hint of romance. The writing is intriguing, and it's a clean story with depth enough to be enjoyed by adults, but action and adventure enough for kids to find it interesting. I loved Daniel's character arc and that struggle to die to self and let go of his anger. He's taken to literally the end of everything. The loss of his team, the loss of his leader, the loss of his friends, almost the loss of his family. Everything except for his anger, and has to learn to submit to Christ and let go of this anger he's just holding to. Needless to say, this is a book that I fully recommend. As a side benefit, it actually provides a lot of great discussion opportunities, and I think it would make a good part of a homeschool curriculum. I could have doubled my discussion questions section if I wanted to. So yeah, this was a really good book. Thank you so much for watching this review of The Bronze Bow by Elizabeth George Spear. Go to goodcleanreads.com for discussion questions, the full list of content concerns, and other book reviews. If you have any questions or comments, comment them down below. Even if you want to tell me why you did or didn't like the book, or leave book recommendations. I could always use book recommendations. I would really appreciate it if you would like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. I started Good Clean Reads in an effort to help Christians be discerning in what we read so that we can guard our hearts with all vigilance and honor the Lord, have our minds set on the Spirit. So, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.